Have mine for their own.
It's kind of warm.
It is kind of warm. Yes, it is. I'm still sleeping with socks on, but I turned the air conditioner on at night. My feet are always cold.
Yeah. What are we looking at here?
Some paving maybe on the bridge or something over here. Remember when it used to be Yistler's?
Oh, whatever that is, that's not there anymore, is it? The feed store?
I don't know, looks like the post office. I don't know. That's the railroad track, and that's River Road.
Immediate release. We have an immediate release.
Attention, please, attention.
Attention, immediate release. So, just for showing up, you get the immediate release. So, let's see, I'll call the meeting to order. First thing, approval of minutes of July 2nd, 2016. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I move we approve those meeting notice from July 2nd.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Next is additions to the agenda. I had one, and that is parking in West Cornwall.
Thank you.
Is that a second? Is that thank you a second?
Yes. I guess it is.
Good. Any other additions? All those in favor of that addition, say aye.
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 Communications, we have an immediate release from the Cornwall Board of Ed to say that the Cornwall Consolidated School principal is leaving to become assistant principal in his hometown of Washington, Connecticut at Chippewa Valley School. I haven't read the thing, but I have talked to a Board of Ed member who said they have an interim person who happens to also be from Washington, Connecticut. And so they have an arrangement in place to get somebody as an interim in place as a principal so that they can plan effectively the coming school year. And again, I'd like to thank Mike Croft for his work here as principal. He really did a good job making people feel comfortable at the school, and worked well to advance kids' education there. So there is going to be a potluck event on August 19th from 4 to 7 p.m. at Hammond Beach, potluck picnic. Not sure what day of the week is the 19th. Anybody smart enough to know that?
I think it's a Friday.
The 19th is indeed, it's a Sunday. No. Yes, it is. It's a Monday. The 19th is a Monday.
A Monday, okay.
Double check, but I think I'm reading that right. Yes, it is. August 19th is a Monday.
Thank you. Okay, well, there's something to look forward to. Any other communications? Any public comments?
Gordon, I was wondering if you're going to have the registrars of both parties present at the town meeting. They say paper ballot is requested.
I think we'll go over the voting procedure. I have talked to Vera Deneen about this, the town clerk, and I have some reports on that. So we'll cover that in item number 1.
My other question is, how do you stand on getting Eversource to clean up the messy site at the River 4 and 128?
I've saw them last week, their community relations person who promised me a landscaping plan, so they are looking at landscaping that site. So we should get a plan soon. So.
Finally, I was wondering about whether you could, anything that the state, the large tree on the green in Cornwall Bridge is being overtaken by an invasive bittersweet vine.
Huh.
And I wondered whether you could step up and, if you can't get the town crew to do it, to get the state to save that tree before it's completely covered with this invasive vine.
Okay, I will talk to the tree warden about that.
Thank you.
Any other correspondence? First item is a town meeting, July 26th, which has been well publicized. It's a vote on recommendation of the Board of Finance, the Board of Selectmen, and the West Cornwall Sewer Study Committee to authorize the expenditure of up to $10,000 for engineering consulting work necessary to apply for grants for a community and sewer septic system in West Cornwall and to continue the work of the study group. So it will be a town meeting and there will be voting there. Vera Deneen, the town clerk, has been working hard to get the word out on eligibility to vote at a town meeting, and she has posted publicly a procedure which I'm not sure you all have read, but it's out apparently on the town website, and it talks about who's eligible to vote, if they're a registered voter, if you're not a registered voter and you're a citizen and a taxpayer in town, then you can vote. If you are a corporation, a limited liability partnership, a trust, you can't vote. The main thing is that people can, Vera does maintain a list of people that are not registered voters. They can vote on at town meetings on financial matters that concern taxes, and I believe they can vote on other town meetings also. And she has a list of approximately 170 people at this point who are qualified to do this, and our idea is it'd be good if people came down to update that list, not just for this town meeting, but other town meetings. Some part-time residents I've talked to are not aware of being able to vote at these events, and so she has maintained this, as has her predecessors, a list of people who are eligible to vote who are not on the voting list of regular voters who vote for in municipal elections like we'll have in the fall.
And in particular, I should note that it's a list of, you have to be registered, you have to be a U.S. citizen.
A U.S. citizen,
So that's
yes.
what she's keeping track of this, on that list.
Right.
And the property you own in some fashion is not a corporation.
Right, so if you own property but you're not a U.S. citizen, then you can't vote. So you have to register with her, you're a U.S. citizen.
You have to register
with Vera that you are a U.S. citizen.
that you are a U.S. citizen, yes.
And you have to be on the grand list too, also you have to be on the tax roll, so if your husband owns or wife owns the property, as has happened, and you don't own it jointly and you're not on the tax roll, then you can't vote. You actually have to be on the tax rolls.
Right.
So Vera will, the way we have thought of trying to do this, because there will be there's a lot of interest in this issue, as we hope there'd be, and there's been a lot of discussion, which has been healthy. So what we're going to do is Vera has printed a ballot, which will be available at the town meeting, so it will be a paper ballot. And people can get that ballot when they arrive at the meeting. So in the back of the gymnasium, we will have the town clerk with the grand list for property owners, and we have the registrars or their delegates, designees for the voters. So people can go when they come there. If they come early, they can get a ballot. Or if during the meeting, they can go up and go through all this. But if people have not come down beforehand to Vera's office, I would encourage them to bring identification of citizenship with them to the meeting, because I think it's very important that in this town where we have very close votes, that we have the people that are eligible to vote. We hope a big turnout and a strong vote count, but we also want the people only the people that are eligible to vote, because I know that sometimes there are people from other towns that come to these meetings, and we want to have just Cornwall people. I mean, at the informational meeting, there are people there from other towns, because it's interesting to see democracy in action, and these are important issues that affect other people. But at this point, we're going by the rules as far as who's eligible to vote. And again, people can register with Vera this week and next during her regular business hours and update that list. So I think it's a good exercise as far as that goes.
And if they're a registered voter, then they're...
Yeah, they don't have to go through anything, but there will be people there that will be checking them off, and then people will get ballots, so it will be a paper ballot.
So it won't be a show of hands?
It will not be a show of hands. It will be actually a ballot.
Okay, that's to get that across.
Right, so it will be a private paper ballot. So people will have the privilege of casting their vote in private, which again is, I think, a good thing. And Vera has talked to town clerks in other towns that have more town meetings than we do, and so that's how they came up with this procedure, because it will take a while to get everybody through this system, but I think if people can get their ballot, they can't fill out their ballot until the question is called, so you can't vote and leave. Part of the idea is people will go there and hear the debate and the discussion as things go along. But there will be a paper ballot, it will be available, and the registrars and the town clerks and all our voting people will be there to make sure the vote is held properly. So
You wanted to be clear that you can't vote and hand it to your neighbor and leave.
Right.
So anybody can only put in one ballot, so you've got to stay.
That is a key
A key point, you got
A
to
key
stay the
point.
whole meeting if you're going to, yeah.
That is a key point.
You have to turn it into Vera.
right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
only one,
One per person.
and no, you're not your neighbors.
I think all of the points, to check all of the points to be able to vote, any number of people could be a bit confused or not realize that they're not eligible
Right.
for a number of reasons that would presumably be eligible, but either, as you're saying, not being a citizen, the property is in their spouse's name or someone else in their family, the property is in a corporation. Those are all
Right, and
valid reasons not to be able to vote.
There have been longtime Cornwall residents that are not able to vote because those are the laws.
Right.
So
And that's not a
Again,
Cornwall rule, is it?
it's not, it's a state statute.
State statute.
Right.
And an interesting thing that Vera came across, that she discussed with you, that if you've got a Hart Hill Farm et al.,
Right.
only the first person named, Danny Hart, and then the et als can't vote. You have to be listed by name on there. So you've got an et al. Kind of thing, you might want to check and see if you're on the, if
wanna
you're
prove-
listed. It's got, your name has to be on the grand list, yeah. That's gonna catch some people by surprise, yeah.
And
Okay. So anyway, so there is, again, we have been in contact with state and federal people that are interested in the grant process and revitalization of West Cornwall. So it will be a interesting meeting, I'm sure. And again, are there any other comments about that? So, look forward to seeing everyone there on the 26th.
At what time?
It is at 7 o'clock at the at the Cornwall Consolidated School.
And
Okay.
there will be a discussion.
Absolutely.
And some questions and
Yeah.
answers being
I
taken
mean,
place. And then a vote at some point, a vote will be called.
Right. Well, we can go into the informational meeting is the next item number 2. We had a good meeting, well attended, almost 100 people there on June 28th. I thought it was well presented and discussed. And I would imagine the turnout on the 26th of July will be just as much. It won't, the important thing is that it won't be as much a technical discussion of the fine points of wastewater management as much as a particular debate on the item in front of us, which is applying for grants and continuing to work on a community project is the main scope. Not that anybody can have, you can tie a lot of things into that topic, but that's the main point of the meeting. Get community feedback on those 2 things and make a decision. Any other thoughts on the meeting on the 28th? Okay. We also had another well-attended meeting and well-discussed meeting on connectivity on July 11th. And again, thanks to we had some very good panelists there. And it's just, I think, the beginning of a long discussion about how do we keep the town connected to the rest of the world with increasing changes of technology, but do it in an environmentally sensitive way. So again, a lot of good.
The video's on the Cornwall website.
The video is there in all its glory. But again, I think it's a good service to have, and there were, again, people from neighboring New York State were even there in the audience. So it's again a big issue that's being discussed, and we were lucky to have such good presentations on July 11th. Any other thoughts on that?
Do you have a copy of all of the?
Yes.
Because Richard didn't put them all up, and I would like them to be added to your video. You just put one up, I think.
Video, that's all I put up.
No, you have the attachments of what was
Right by
passed
your right
out.
elbow with the big
I think
clip,
you
is
had
that
one
them?
at the end.
Big clip.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it should be added at the end of the video, just for
Well-
people to make
From
reference
the
to.
video link, yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate
I
that.
have the leftover
The leftovers, okay. Well,
from
that's,
saying, will 5G arrive in time to save us? Well, the answer, I think, on Thursday night was no.
So this
Do you
one's the
have an
lead.
electronic copy of that you can email to me?
You can probably, let me give you that, and,
I'll just scan them, would that work?
Yeah, just scan it and send it to me.
okay.
okay, those are the 2 things.
There's a third one too, but
Oh, we got,
I think there
Oh,
were
we got-
4 that I picked up.
okay.
If you don't have them, I'll go back.
But
and
anyway, so
find
Joyce,
them.
you'll scan them, Richard, tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, we'll just,
If I don't
Put
find
those
four,
over
I'll
there.
give you a
Call,
call.
give
There
me a
should be
call.
four,
I
okay.
think there should be 4.
right, we have 4 there.
Okay.
There was a lot of information in those.
There is.
Yeah.
And that's why I felt, when I just saw one at the end of the meeting, I thought we should have all 4 attached. So if you didn't come to the meeting or you didn't pick up copies, at
Right.
least you could make reference. Because they were all different points of view and all valid. I'm not saying one was better than the other, but they were different points of view.
Okay.
Gordon, one of the things that I would hope you might consider is that meeting highlighted the poor miking system that we have in that room. And we've talked a lot about getting adequate audio in there, and that maybe the board could look into that kind of expenditure.
Yes, my feedback was that people I talked to, including somebody who complained, was that it was more an individual problem, that most of the speakers were able to hear. One was particularly unclear, was the feedback I got, but I wasn't in the audience.
It may also have something to do with how the
Right.
microphone was adjusted.
Yep.
It appeared to be,
Too loud?
well, a little too loud or a little too bassy.
Right.
Not enough treble.
This isn't the first time we've had issues around sound and hearing in that room. I just asked the board to consider, an up-to-date audio system.
Well, yeah.
Okay. So, anything else on July 11th? Next we have bridge bids. We have an interesting week of bids at the town hall. First on our agenda is the bridge bids, and we received 2 bids. One from Stone Construction for $182,160. Second bid was from Dayton Construction for $440,000 for the same 2 projects, which
Quite a difference.
quite a difference, a little bit surprising difference. Obviously, there's no collusion between the bidders, but a little bit surprising gap to have that much. And again, we had other people express interest but didn't choose to bid, and I think overall it's a fairly busy construction climate. So obviously, in both of these companies are qualified to do this type of work. So
Now, the question was, did one of them forget one of the pieces of the project, or did they?
well, that's a good question. So I think the main question was, why is what accounts for several things that can account for difference in bid, as far as whether people are really eager to do the work, but there may be other alternate explanations too. So Roger has had conversations with Stone Construction following our,
Actually, both.
with both companies following our meeting on Monday, which was attended by representatives of those 2 companies. So what's the latest?
Okay. The latest is that Stone realized that they gave a 1-page proposal, and it's just a lump sum price. Now, what we had asked for originally was, lump sum prices for about 18 items. So I asked them to go back over their bid and break out the items and explain to me how they arrived at their proposal. And so the engineer that did that went back to the office, called me, wanted to set up a meeting. We had a meeting today, and he explained that yes, we had missed a significant item. And they're very anxious to do the job. the president of the company had been in the hospital until just last week. He got out, he told them to put a bid in, so they put in a one-page bid. It's not what I had anticipated, and I wasn't really happy with their bid. But at $182,160, it was remarkably low, much lower than even my estimate, are typically low. So then I also got a call from Dayton Construction. Their engineer called me and wanted to know, how can it be such a different, one bid is more than 100% more than the other. So
Oh, yeah.
their bid is $444,500 for both sites. One project has two sites. So they both understood that, but they both understand that they're working with 72-inch concrete pipe, which is very heavy as far as moving it and installing it. So everybody understood the projects as we had described them. The stone estimate missed one whole item, and he's since looked at it and says that item would be about $45,000. But we can't let him change the bid. So my suggestion is that we reject the bids as being out of balance. One is way too high, one is way too low. Re-announce the process, have another pre-bid meeting on the July 29th, which will be here at the town hall. Give the contractors 2 weeks to develop a new estimate. These two contractors, of course, know the job pretty well now, but I'll also re-invite other contractors that I know that do this work in the area. And one of the things that they said I should have done is mention this job is not expected to start until after Labor Day. A lot of people have more time after Labor Day, trying to finish up their summer work. So my recommendation to the board is that we dismiss both bids. We re-advertise the end of this week, and that's just a simple public notice in the newspaper. If Joyce is willing, we can get that out probably on Thursday. Have a new pre-bid meeting on August 29th, 10 o'clock here.
July 29th.
29th.
I'm sorry, it's July 20th. And then on August 12th, the new bids would be due, and we go through the whole process again. So it's just about 4 weeks we have to postpone the process.
And again, contact the usual suspects, to some of the people that were
Yes.
at the previous meeting but did not bid on the project,
Right.
that now may be more interested.
Because they know it's after Labor Day. So we have a list of typically about 8 contractors that we contact. We'll re-announce that we're going to rebid the project and invite them to this pre-bid meeting where they'll be given the individual packets of information. And this time I'll make sure everyone understands that their lump sum prices are for each item, not just total job.
Well, and some of the people that were at the previous thing may have already filled up their calendar and they're not interested now. Some people that weren't there didn't
Well,
make it.
The two that just bid it, they're definitely
Well,
interested.
they'll both be there.
Right. And I think that a couple of other contractors that I had an opportunity to talk to, they just, where were you? We had a party and you didn't show up. They just flipped off their calendar, I guess. So at any rate, we'll do the whole process again, and 4 weeks from tonight, we'll have the same discussion, hopefully with a different outcome.
Well, that would work because our meetings in August are on the 6th and the 20th.
Correct.
So if you're getting back the bids on the 13th or the 12th,
The 12th.
that'd be great.
So, with your permission, I will contact both contractors, told them we have dismissed the bid, and we'll re-advertise and re-invite them to play again. They have a pretty good idea of what the minimum and maximum are, but
Well,
we'll see.
If necessary, we would have a special meeting to, not apply, to approve, to accept one of the bids. I'm just saying, we as this,
As a board,
as a board could do that too, so that they're aware that I mean, August 20th is starting to get, if we tell them on August 20th that you can start in 10 days,
Well, that'll be in the pre-bid information, so that will, state that the job is expected to start right after Labor Day.
I understand, but the winning bidder wouldn't know who they are until we award that.
Right.
And they may want to know with more than 10 days so they can mobilize and do what they need. It doesn't really matter. That's a decision that the board can make
Right.
after we see the bids.
Yeah.
If we,
That should give them plenty of time, especially if they know this is what's expected.
What day is the 29th of July?
Monday.
Is Thursday. I'm sorry.
The 29th is a Monday.
The 29th of July is a Monday, so it'll be Monday, 10 o'clock at the town hall, whether it be here or the annex.
Is there any advantage to trying to push it up a week?
Not really. I think that only gives them, if our public notice goes out on Friday, it appears in the
Could be in the Friday paper. Yeah.
Friday paper.
It could be in the Thursday paper also, if you want.
Well, I figured it,
Well, this Friday is the 19th.
right. So if we get it in this Friday's paper, then it gives them, 6 working days to prepare to come to this meeting that we're going to have, come to our party. And then it gives them 2 weeks to prepare a bid after that.
I think that timing is fine. I don't think that's a problem. I think that's fine, and there should be an adequate amount of time, and I think that's correct. I'm only suggesting that we keep as a possibility at our August 6th meeting, approximately August 6th, then we may need to schedule a special meeting after the bids come in, so we can...
Well, the bids would be in on the 12th. Your next scheduled meeting would be the 20th.
Right, so that's 8 days later.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, sometimes there's an apparent winner, but it's not, they don't always get awarded it doesn't always work that way. We still have to award somebody the bid. And frequently, somebody does know who they are. It is known.
When you have a bid opening, right, when Stone walked out the door, they were the apparent low bidder, but that doesn't mean they get the award.
Right, right.
So yeah, this time frame seems realistic,
Yeah,
and
okay.
in 4 weeks we'd be, having the same discussion.
Well, we can keep that in mind, my
Right.
thought. And if we do it, we do. If we don't, we don't. We don't need any more meetings, but...
Right. Okay, then I'll make a motion that we reject both bids received for the work on Lake Road and Cream Hill Road and republish a request for bids that would be due on August 12th.
And Roger had a specific term for why we're rejecting the 2 bids?
Well,
I don't think we have to even give a
yeah,
reason.
we don't have to do that. I mean,
They can watch the video, they can see what he just said.
Right. Imbalanced.
An imbalance.
Right, but the bottom line is the contractor said he couldn't do a complete project for the amount he bid. We always like low bids, but as long as they have all the pieces necessary.
Better he realize it
Now then.
right, before he starts the project.
Right. Good. All right. Thank you very much, Roger, for keeping us going on this. And
So that was the second from you then?
Sure, that was the second. Yeah.
right.
Is everybody okay with that?
Okay?
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Now you can thank Roger.
Okay. Thank Roger again. Good.
Thank you, Roger.
Next, today we had paving bid, which were a little bit more straightforward. And I think I sent you all a little report on our bids following this. Basically, we got 3 bids, and there was a range in these bids also, not quite as wide.
Yep.
We have an apparent low bidder of LB Corporation from Lee, Mass. This is mostly work on College Street. for $115,800. We have a bid from Waters Paving of $159,600 and A&J Construction of $182,089. So the road foreman, Jim Vannicky, has looked at all this. All three bidders have worked for the town before, and he is recommending that we go with the low bid of LB Corporation.
When did LB do work for the town? I know the other two.
I'm not sure what, it was a while ago, but probably 5 or 10 years ago. So there's been quite a good rotation of people through the paving process. But Jim said they had worked, he had worked with the people and they were right on their quantities. So I would make a motion that we accept their bid to do work this summer, repaving, reclaiming part of College Street at $115,800.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
What's the?
Do you want to look at all those?
No, I just want to. I can't remember the length of what we're doing.
It's more or less a mile by the time we add it all up.
And not all of it's reclaimed. So
No.
only some of it. 2,000. Yeah. It's over a mile. Or maybe that's the same. No, the same 2,400. Yeah, it's under a mile. And they did the same thing by breaking out how they were doing it.
Right.
Time frame to do it.
I believe he wants to get it done in August.
A week to do it all.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, some happy news. We got a call from our insurance agent, and because of low level of claims in our town and other members of Kerma's pool, we are getting a $7,000 rebate at the end of at the end of the last fiscal year, which will be presented to the town next week, about $7,000 a refund, which is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good news. The air monitor, I did attend the meeting on the Cricket Valley Power Plant last week, which is also another lively, full meeting. Heard a good presentation from somebody from DEP. Is that on film, that meeting? Did that get filmed? No. So, anyway, we're still working on getting the air monitor put up. They want to get it up as soon as possible, because I think the power plant is going ahead of schedule. So, I'm getting a quote from Garrett Deneen on installing the monitor. So I did ask some other people and we haven't heard back, but Garrett said he could do it, fit it in, so hopefully we'll get that for our next meeting. West Cornwall Firehouse renovation update. I believe they're starting this month to enclose the new utility area. I met with the project manager and chief of the fire department and people on the building committee to get the work sequence to make sure the building stays usable and ready for service, which I think we're going to be able to achieve. So that'll be good to get that going. Again, plenty of projects. Any other questions on that? Next is parking in West Cornwall. It's come to my attention, I got some citizens that were complaining. I know it's come to this board before the what is parking and what is not parking in West Cornwall. So I thought it was important to do two things, because this primarily addresses Connecticut Route 128. I thought it would be important to get the actual maps of what is this a right-of-way, does the town, and what does the town own, what does the state own, what is private property. And so we came up with two maps. One is the wonderfully accurate 1927 map when the road was laid out, and the second is a map survey, A2 survey from Martin and Shirley Gold when they owned the old Emporium. And both maps seem to show the state property right-of-way going through the front of what used to be the Wandering Moose. I did contact, and I've sent these maps to the state so they can search all their records. And the state will be contacting property owners and giving notice that you can't put up signs outlawing property where the state has approved parking.
Good.
So the state will be handling 128 because they feel it's very important, especially after the state spent a lot of care and money to revitalize the bridge, that when people come to visit, they have the ability to park on state property in state-approved parking areas. So the state will be working on that. So I think that's where that sits, as it's there right away. I think it's, and they have procedures, and this happens before, because there is, of course, confusion as far as property lines and.
So this is, no longer exists, that
Correct.
right there?
Yeah. So, time out.
Let me just,
Second related issue is the town right-of-way, which is on Lower River Road, formerly known as, on this map of 1972 A2, Warren Turnpike, also called Slater Road, which refers to Camp Slater, which is the previous name of Trinity Retreat Center Camp. Do you have to go?
would be a good idea. Are you close enough to the end?
We're
right?
close, yeah.
If there's anything else to come right on.
Right, okay. So anyway, this A2 survey does show the town right-of-way being very, again, close to the building of the former Emporium. So if there are objects or any impediments to in the town right away.
When you say Emporium, Gordon, what are you talking about?
This on the map, this is the store building, referred to as the Emporium, was the old name for the Wandering Moose.
Oh,
It has had
thank
a
you.
bunch of different names, but it's
Okay, I
referred
was
to
confused, I didn't know.
on this
Emporium.
map as the Emporium. It was the
Okay.
Emporium, the corner, Cadwell's corner,
Yep.
the Wandering Moose.
Yep, okay.
So my thought is, and I think generally as a town policy, as this is the town right-of-way, and for years it's been used for people to park at the library or for restaurants or whatever, that we
Yes.
reestablish it as a town right-of-way, and say it's our intention that people can park on the town roads in addition to safely park on the state roads.
Thank you.
Is this monument?
Read the
that-
fine print.
It says-
There's a railroad spike driven into pavement. I don't think that's still there. But this wall is still there, and this culvert's still there.
Well, I don't, it says CHD is Connecticut Highway Department monument, and that's, they don't tend to get moved too
No, they don't, but it says driven into pavement, so we could look at, see.
104 feet to Connecticut Highway Monument on bank of Housatonic River, so that may be, I'm just wondering if we need to establish, if we do need to establish the exact location of where we are.
I think you've got the culvert and you've got the wall on the survey. I think that's pretty good. Pretty good reference points.
There probably is another monument over on this side too.
And my other thought on parking in West Cornwall, as we have spent a lot of time and energy doing the Bend project, I think it might be in everybody's interest if we put a public parking sign somewhere down near the bridge that highlights you can park at the Bend, because people may not know that. And again, I can
Yeah.
understand if it is a business zone, but it's also people live there. And if we can have people park at the Bend and walk through the beautiful village, there's no reason why we can't look at a sign to be put somewhere down in that triangle that shows there is public parking that way. Just
There also is a parking sign at the railroad's
Mhm.
the gates that says parking back by the,
in the back.
in the back there.
Yeah. So that's about all I had to say about parking in West Cornwall. Other than
So that
The Bend is
the
good?
state, someone from the
some of the
state,
states working on it,
will make some contacts.
Yeah.
And,
and you have to give notice before you do anything, so people will be notified of what's what.
So those no parking signs should be gone.
Should be gone. Should be
I hope so.
with a procedure.
well, I wouldn't say, that may not be anytime soon though, because it may take up, there's a process that I think we're
Right.
talking about. Is that-
Anyway, the state was pretty clear that that people had a right to park along the state right of way safely. Okay, so anyway, I think it's good to have the maps, so we're talking property lines, not personalities.
Right.
And again, one of the challenges of West Cornwall is you look at these maps and there's a lot of right of way through buildings in West Cornwall. So
Oh, yes.
That's,
Yeah.
but I imagine that was the deal when they put the road through, that they took a big right of way.
Oh,
Wow.
this,
Yeah.
so what building, this, right here?
I think that is, that
I don't think it's theirs.
no, that's gone. That's gone. This is where the old hotel was. I think this got washed out. And these got washed out in 55 or 38. The meat market over the river didn't last.
Right, that,
Right.
and maybe all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So anything else on parking?
No, I think that does it.
All right. So then
So if you have duplicates, I'd like to have one set
you can
to
have
take
those.
with
You
me.
can take those copies
Thank
with you.
you very much.
Yeah, I think
And
it's
this one.
interesting history to know what's what.
Thank you.
Yes.
Want
Okay.
that one too?
I think I have that one. I don't want more than I have.
So that's the end of our agenda, except for public comment
I have that one.
and
Thank
paying
you.
bills. Any more public comments? Oh, good, the press. All is welcome here.
You made the announcement that was so intriguing about the microcell units that were hanging on the utility poles.
Right.
Any progress on hearing back from anyone?
No, but it's still on the trail. Could be a good investigative reporter to crack the case.
That's the lead head.
Yeah. Whose is it? What is it? What is this? And who's this? Who does it belong
It
to?
was mystery microcells.
Mystery Microcell, yeah. Probably Sprint, we know it's tied into the Optimum's cable line. But again, we're working with our state representatives to find out. And I will call up her because we did talk to the commissioner of the Public Utility Regulatory Agency and he was surprised that we didn't know more than we did. So, it doesn't surprise me when we don't know more than we do, but it surprised him, so.
And if you want to view the one that's on Pine Street, you go past the library.
Oh, you can look right out here. There's one right out here on the corner. It's like a little bread box hanging down from a silver line, and there's another one about 100 feet right there. So we're well covered by something.
Big Brother's watching.
That's right. Okay. All right, so that's that. So now we have to pay bills. Okay, thank you, Roger.
Pay bills at 8:20.
So we'll probably write a note to each contractor saying we've.
I will contact them both in the morning.
Okay.
Give them- I'm sure,
Do you think that's sufficient, or do you want us to write a letter saying we reject it?
we probably ought to write a formal letter, but
Okay.
I will contact, they both asked me to get back to them.
Right,
after
right.
the meeting, and I said it
Okay.
would be over till 8:30 or so.
Good.
I'll send an email in the morning.
All right.
I'll include a copy of you as well.
Fine.
That's it?
That's it. That's all the excitement.
Thank you.